Welcome back. Thank you to everyone who gave me feedback in the previous episode. It does help to try and improve the series. I wanted this to be somewhat of a let's play, but at the same time I think I will be editing it a little bit. As you can see, things have progressed a little bit ahead. We do want to get these beds made. Johnny is finishing the underground food storage. This is what we'll be using to preserve our food. The Oak Brethren Shrine. If we go in here, we can see that there are two religion alignments. There is the Oak Brethren, which is, I think all of us are Oak Brethren. Johnny is actually a zealot, and he also actually has potential passion to become a druid. Mary is also an Oak Brethren, a devout Oak Brethren. The other religion is the Church of Restitution. Generally, if I was to build an Oak Brethren temple, then people from the Church of Restitution would not want to go inside that room, and vice versa. As you can see, I've now built a table. This is important for their morale. So they have needs: food, sleep, religious activities, entertainment, which is typically backgammon, but it can also, I think alcohol can be entertainment for them. Aesthetics, which is the beauty of the environment. It can also be the beauty of the clothes they're wearing, or that emits beauty, and comfort. That's to do with the beds, the chairs, and the clothes, it seems. As well as that, characters have initial optimism when they start. This will last for about 4 days. Well, I think it starts off 7 days. And once that goes down, they can become unhappy. So each character can be slightly different. They are quite similar, but Kyle is quite close to having the potential to have joyful. And if he becomes joyful, his experience gained from doing tasks will increase, and he'll also be able to do tasks faster. So you definitely want to try and get your settlers to become joyful, but it can be tricky, especially if you have it on hard difficulty settings, such as I do. If we go into, let's have a look actually, options, game, edit, custom. So if we go into custom here, you can change this as the game progresses if you want as well. Obviously I just have it set on hard, but if I set it to hard and then set it to custom, I can look at what the hard settings are. So I'll only get 90% yield for these multipliers because it's on hard. And the event strength, wound severity, so it's small but significant. So settler mood value is the one I was looking for. That's at 80%. So even they're actually lower than they should be. So he should actually be probably full happiness. I have Mary doing a little bit of research when she is free. The underground food storage is now done. It's providing around 4 degrees Celsius, which is perfect refrigeration temperature. The animals got in here and laid some dung. But I've set a pen marker here, which covers this entire area behind this wall. So now any animals that are on this list that are domesticated by us will be kept in here. And Kyle's just finishing off some extra fortifications. I've put a roof over this because the rain can affect it. But we now have decent amounts of food, and the food will last longer while it's down here. So it will rot in 43 days. That's quite a long time, and I only make 10 at a time because there's only 3 of us. And this food should last 30 days. Typically packaged survival meals like these should not deteriorate. I suppose 3 years is a long time, but still, I thought they didn't deteriorate at all. So what are we working on next? I could chisel back this mountain, which I think I will. So what I can do when I want to delete all of these wooden walls, because I want to replace them with cobblestone, is I can make sure that these are the only ones in my screen and double click on them. Double check, none of these are selected. Cancel. So now, I'm not sure if, I think these, I would think in theory, wood is more flammable than stone. So that's my thinking behind changing to stone here. What I'm building here is a small fort with a tunnel underground so that they can defend this position, and when it gets overrun, they can escape through the tunnel back into the safety. So you've got layers of defence, so if one layer fails, you fall back. On harder difficulties, you need to think about situations like that, where you get overrun. So, now that the walls are here, I'm going to build a second floor, but we can round this wall to make it look a little bit cooler. And I believe limestone is also stronger than wood. We'll see soon. Some people build an overhang and then build Merlin on top, like me. I often do that, but you don't actually have to. You can just place Merlin. Oh, not like that. You can place Merlin off the edge. But that's kind of why I don't like to do it, because it can be done, but it just, if you misclick, it kind of goes down. I find it's harder to find the correct area to click, so I find it easier to lay a floor. Don't build the floor, so it's not wasting resources, and then build the Merlin on top, which just replaces the floor anyway. There we go, a little fortification. You might want to provide some bait, as we did before. Pyre. I can also set traps here. I always leave space to path round the traps so they don't have to walk on them, because they can harm you if they're forced to walk on them. Obviously they're red because nobody's good enough to build them yet, but once again, if we hover over 14, so there's one more level and you can build those. And they're very cheap to build because they're just made of sticks, but they aren't very powerful. They'll slow your enemies down, but they won't stop them. Bedtime again already. Perhaps I should get Mary to barter So I can barter with him, I can trade him some of our stuff, which is anything that's sitting in the stockpiles, and I can buy from him. His inventory should be displayed somewhere if he has animals with him and such. He also has gold coin. We do want to buy seeds from him, but beet seeds typically are the hardest to plant, so you need a good farmer to be able to plant these. Flax seeds, they could be valuable. And they're very cheap. We will have to give him something in return, but... So the arrow's pointing this way is what he can offer us, and the arrow's pointing that way. On this side, that's what we can offer him. And what we can offer him is some trees. Mary's bartering will improve quite quickly because of our passion. I can take his coin for some food. I'm done. We now have flax and some gold coins. Gold coins is just a currency that we can use to buy things rather than having to trade. So let's plant some flax. It's worth noting that things in this game have changed over time. So now some of this limestone only provides 10. If I search around, some will provide 53. So it's worth looking for concentrated amounts when you're trying to build. So even though we're in the mountains and limestone is abundant, some of it's only given us 10. It still has 1,000 hit points though. This has 1,600 but provides 53. So if I want limestone in the future, I'm best to build a limestone quarry. Looking pretty happy. One of the reasons Kyle will be happy is that he's doing a job that he's passionate in, which increases his happiness. Same with Johnny here. Johnny's name being green means that he's joyful, which means he has the XP boost and the productivity boost. Mary will also be enjoying the research. Our community isn't quite Black Ness, but it's off to a good start. So we're getting close to level 15. But it's time for a break. I think I'll build a bridge. The beams can only support a distance of 10 blocks, which in this case is just enough. I don't want to give the enemies a position to hide behind, so if I put Merlin here, a wooden one, they'd be able to use it as cover potentially. Even though it sort of looks like it's an off angle, it might still be able to provide them cover. Looks like Kyle's level 15 now. He can build the traps. Mary's clothing must have deteriorated. Let's have a look at this then. So once I set this to that, and then go to edit, I can set the requirements. For now I'm going to set it to sturdy. So I've already made this in advance. You can make new ones. If I wanted to make a new one, I could edit apparel, add a new one. If I had a new one, then you can name it. So this one will be all apparel with quality. Well, I'm going to control the quality. So if it's below a certain threshold, they won't wear it. So it needs to be sturdy, and it needs to be it needs to have above 100 hit points. And it can be either of these. I can learn tailoring. That would be the solution. Didn't realize we had research. That's high priority. I can force him to wear this, even though it's basically subpar for Wild Out, because it's only got 23 hit points, so it's less than 50%. So technically he should take that off and replace it automatically. It saves me having to manually tell them to change. Okay. Winter clothes. Mary should be the one that does this. Tailoring. Is it 3? I might set that to 2. Material. I'm going to take everything but linen, because we'll use linen for summer clothes. Doesn't really make a difference, but it does aesthetically look different. The colour will look different. I'll clear all. Only linen for summer clothes. Again, I'm doing do until you have 2, which means if Mary makes 2 winter clothes and then puts on 1, there's only 1, in which case she'll replace until there are 2. So that's one way of keeping a stockpile of at least 2, or however many you think you need, depending on the size of your population. And it's more important to stay warm in the winter than it is to stay cool in the summer. Looks like Kyle's getting the traps built. A lot of the time the enemies will pass close to the wall. So if they're trying to get to here, to get through this door, they're probably going to hug the wall. They might cross a little bit this way. I would anticipate they move this way and stay close to this wall and then run along here. If they're trying to get here. But if they're trying to get to this, they may just cross directly over this. So I've already got one of these made. I'll show you this. So I don't wear all hats because I don't like to wear the heretic crowns, or I think that's a bone crown. The bone crown can cause a negative buff on your sellers. Again, I set the quality to good. As they get better at creating clothes, I'll set this higher and higher, and eventually I'll only wear really good clothing. Armour. I have one here for light armour. Light armour is just, it's called light armour, it's leather armour basically, and it has no movement penalties. Other armour has movement penalties. For archers, I prefer them, which is most of my units will always be archers, I prefer them to wear light armour. So if we ever have some, they'll just automatically. I should actually have said this as well, so meal, so they will only eat meals. So if I go into this, they won't eat raw food. There are some people who have the aesthetic trait, which means they don't like luxury, and they would prefer to eat raw food. But for everyone else, their preferences should be like this. You might want to remove packaged survival meals, because you don't want to waste them. A lot of the time these are for travelling, as they don't spoil very easily. So that's them set to meal. I typically set their stimulants to this. So they can drink all alcohol except rough wine. Alcohol is used for medical reasons, for making medicine. So you don't want them to drink that really, you would rather use it for medicine, or I think you can use it for pickling. And rough wine, you would rather age rough wine into aged fine wine, as it's just much better, it just takes a lot longer to make. But if you build a wine cellar, you can easily store large amounts of rough wine that will, over a long period, turn into aged fine wine, and then you'll have a large stock of aged fine wine. which is how I always do it. So I always like them not to drink the rough wine. I would rather wait for it to turn into fine wine, because that is generally the best wine, the best alcohol. And it's cheap to make because it's just red currants. Typically I will just auto-equip their weapons, but later in the game you might want to have them have a similar settings where they, you know, axes, crossbows, etc. We'll look at that in the future. Mary's suffering from the cold, but she's almost finished. What are you doing, Mary? Drinking? No. I'm just going to force her to wear it. It wasn't her finest tailoring, but it'll have to do for now. And the fort is finished. A wooden well. Let's get that done. And as we see, now that Mary put that on, we have 0, so she'll make another 2. We need leather, in which case we need to hunt. To hunt, the easiest way to hunt would be to go to wildlife here. And you can, I would avoid boar, and I'll go for deer. I'll go for the mature ones. So I just click this and I'll highlight them for hunting. This one's pretty old, so I'll go for that. Any of the matures I'll go for. Of course I'll add a door here, so that only we can use this tunnel, unless they break through it. I might build individual little houses here. These are just temporary. I think they'll look nice. Sometimes I just do things because it looks nice. I want to grab all of this, do that. Well, perhaps we'll call it that for an episode. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.